Hello everyone, this is a video I've been wanting to make for quite some time. The video that kind of started it all, just a compilation of XXXTENTACION and his occult ties. So, about a year ago I stumbled upon this information. I was a huge XXXTENTACION fan at the time. I found this information, I was watching all the interviews, and I stumbled upon 458 keys saying some very suspicious stuff about Bruno. And me being a researcher on the side, like I understand this stuff. I've been researching since around 2017, 2018 in these satanic cults and the symbols they use and the type of language they use. So I quickly understood that he was talking about a secret society, and I just had to expose it. And the funny thing is, I did shop around with this information to bigger conspiracy channels such as like Truth Is. I actually sent him an Instagram message. I tried to message Black Balloon, I think, originally about a year ago. And I feel like they don't take any of this stuff serious because they are bigger YouTube channels, so they probably have tons of people messaging them. So I suddenly had it upon myself. I had to upload it myself. I was the one that had to do it. And I feel like it was kind of engineered that way. I feel like nobody would have been able to put together the clips and the screenshots the way I have in that aspect. And that's not being prideful. I just think that in order for the information to get out there properly, it had to be me. So I want to thank every single one of you guys for watching this video and following my channel. It's much appreciated, and I look forward to growing this channel with you guys and getting to know you better and establishing more of a relationship with you guys, because this channel is not for me, okay? It's more for just getting information out for you guys, and so people can look this information up and understand it. Because I know XXXTentacion, he left a mystery around his death. So, we'll leave it at that. Here we go. Starting it off. So, back when I made this video, I didn't know how to edit properly. That's why there's so many, it's like a slideshow. I was not sure how to put the stuff together. But anyway, what we're gonna start with, I believe, is the 458 keys clip that got me right into trying to figure this stuff out. This is on No Jumper with Adam 22.
Did you ever see the X porno?
Jesus Christ. I'm talking on that.
You got one too. You got one in the
What?
set?
How do you know about the...
I'm just going to assume. You spent that much time at Bruno's house. I'm sure
I used to live there.
Yeah, you got to live.
What are you saying, bro? I got my groupie lust too. Don't get it twisted.
First dude got
my
groupie
lust too. On me, yeah.
Do you think that the X sex tape will ever leak?
No.
Nah, I don't got no money for that.
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Money for that. If that shit is there, shit. You
I don't know what you guys are talking.
I'm also pretty sure he was underage when he made it. So basically, they filmed him doing porn, and that porn that quote unquote porn, that could be code word for like a ritual, which is why in order to get in the club, you had to do like a groupie lust, or you had to do some sort of video to get in. That's just kind of a possibility I'm looking at, because they do try to blackmail you with these videos. It could be doing something disgusting with, a number of different things. Like, they film people doing stuff with animals. They'll film people doing stuff with children. Sometimes it's murder and stuff. I'm not saying they're involved with it directly, but this is kind of how the cults work. They will blackmail you with videos of you doing rituals.
My XX tape, but I'm just saying whatever went on, it just never happened. Sorry. I don't know what you're talking about.
Bruno's. If you went there,
if you know what Bruno is,
we can't talk about this.
So that immediately had me wondering what was going on. So that led me to Google, obviously, which made me find something by Tables, who's unfortunately passed away. He stayed away from the occult and Wicca stuff, but they performed dark rituals at Bruno's. I was very interested in that, because he said, if you know what Bruno is, then you know I can't speak about it, because it's a secret society, it is a secret cult. They swear an oath.
Smart question. Because most people don't even ask, they assume. Is it metaphorical? You know what? You're the first one to hit it on the dot. Thank you. That right there is a metaphor for myself.
So he's saying this demonic entity is a representation of himself. So basically, that means he believes he is God, okay? He believes he is God. He believes he can do anything he wants. He believes in the do as thou wilt policy. And also the Baphomet was worshipped by the Knights Templar. It was said to be a talking goat's head, or a talking skull of some sort. Which goes even further into, I'm sure I have it in the videos, Aleister Crowley and what he believes. And here we go, we're gonna keep going.
Me. I am the fucking Baphomet.
Yeah, Baphomet is a symbol of balance in various occult and mystical traditions. They link it to the Knights Templar, the Gnostics and the Knights Templar. Gnostics are Luciferians. Okay, so this is X in front of that painting, or in front of that mural. He sold his soul to Bruno. He spoke to a Baphomet. He said he would save him, and he said he would give him anything he wanted. And he asked for his soul, which is what anima vestra means in Latin. So speaking of some sort of ritual, because they do rituals in Latin, they do rituals in old languages, that this was referencing a ritual. XXXTENTACION made an agreement with Bruno to be famous and perform these rituals. They make a deal with a demonic entity as well through these rituals, and allow the demon to possess them, to give them supernatural abilities, such as, like, let's say someone who's really deep into the occult will have they will be able to make their song irresistible, make themselves irresistible to the public. You know what I mean? That's the type of energy a demon will bring into your life, if that makes sense. And that's exactly what X was into, especially when he was first out of jail with the balanced hair color, like the white and black hair color. That was a reference to Baphomet and Luciferianism and the demon that he was in touch with, if that makes sense. Probably rambling a little bit, but you guys get the gist of what I'm saying, is that he made a deal with Bruno, who's a high-level occultist, who got him in touch with some sort of entity, and they shared X's body, if that makes sense. So this is part 3, this is the second part of the videos that I released, just on Teflon, Shan. This guy I have no idea about this guy. I can't find any personal information on him. I can't find really anything on him at all. But we'll start out this clip.
If you're going to listen to an artist consistently, and it's your favorite artist, you most definitely should understand who it is that you're looking into or listening to. But in my situation, they definitely should pay attention to what I am as a person rather than a character. But it is hard to mend these two things together if everything that I portray as an artist is purely art. So it's hard to tell if, as a person, that anything that is controversial or spoken on about me is remotely even true. There's brainwashing that gets involved in music, in the music industry, like recording things backwards and all these different things that people don't know, frequency channelings and different things like that. So you never know who you're fucking with unless you fully dwell into them as a person.
So I found that was very interesting. Obviously led me to Teflon Shan. But I found that very interesting that you even say something like that, even mention the music channeling or the vibrations or the backwards recordings. That means that he was allowed to say that information. He was being set up as a false light, someone who exposes truth in a controlled truth. So he was allowed to say all these things. He was allowed to expose vibrations. He was allowed to expose the different parts of the music industry in order to make himself trustworthy and lead people astray from the Lord Jesus Christ and lead them into a Luciferian ideology of self-worship and that, you are God yourself. Essentially what Aleister Crowley believed. So Teflon Shan is someone I can't find any information of. People can try to give me information. I have nothing about him. Study the Golden Beetle. So to me, the Golden Beetle, from all this information, it's not something special. It's not something crazy. It is it's just the occult. It's just secret religion. It's ancient Egyptian religion and rituals that are most likely blood rituals. We see Tankhead 666 drawn in a painting. That's another member of his cult. Just proof that they're roommates. XXX kill me. He wrote that in blood on his wall. Now keep in mind, this is like a 17, 18-year-old kid living with adults. And they're allowing him to cut himself and write on their walls and do all sorts of things. Like, this is not the type of people you want your 17-year-old around. So anyway, he's calling this demon father, which is, I understand that the Baphomet is your father. Like, you worship Satan. It makes a lot of sense when I saw this. This is just the beginning of the end. World Domination 666 just proves that XXXTENTACION was more of a... proves XXXTENTACION was more of a puppet that was being pushed out there so they could further their agenda of World Domination 666. Like, I really feel like Teflon Shan is a higher initiate, and he put no information about who he truly is for a reason, because he was like a handler of some kind. All this is speculation, of course, but still very weird. So we'll go Evil Cannot Be Stopped, Join or Die, which is essentially what the Bible says at the end times, when if you don't take the mark of the beast or worship the beast, you will be killed, right? So if you don't follow the Luciferian ideals that you are God yourself, and that you don't practice the mystery religions, you don't pay homage to the beast himself, they'll kill you, which makes more than enough sense. Our mission is still the same: destroy Earth through control of children's minds. And XXXTentacion was targeting teenagers. That he was targeting this whole SoundCloud era. All those rappers that were connected to Bruno were going after like kids, like people that are just starting their adult lives out. Makes a lot of sense. It truly does. Sometimes we wear a mask of no morality, so you will invite us in. That says a lot about the people that are in these cults. It's a lot about the people who practice dark magic. If you let them in, they'll, they wear a mask, so you'll let them in, and then, who knows what they're going to do to you. Exactly the same way with how they've infiltrated Hollywood, and they've infiltrated people's households through TV and stuff. It's the exact same thing, in my opinion. World Domination, Chapter 3, Verse 6. It's the takeover, the Antichrist taking over the world. Pain is in your future. We shall dance on dead moonlight. We know that moonlight is also an allegory for, it could be like knowledge from the moon goddess. You know, whenever we're talking about light, or they're saying things like that, we have to understand that they're speaking in some kind of code. So light to them can be secret knowledge. You know, we just have to look at every possibility when we see people speaking like this. The only human I look up to. So the only human he looks up to is Aleister Crowley, who is a man who literally murdered people, and he actually would, you know, do ritual abuse to children. So that's crazy to me that he'd even post that on there, but you know, they're hiding it in exactly plain sight. If he knew that someone's going to look at this stuff, I'm sure he would have deleted it. They didn't think that someone would take all these XXXTentacion things and put them all together, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't see anything about Teflon Shan before researching it myself. So he only worships Aleister Crowley, who was a dark magician who literally said human sacrifice is the most powerful. That means he's done it. He's murdered people. So if this guy was so pivotal in XXXTentacion's early career, makes you wonder, because he got famous right after Jocelyn Flores, did he murder Jocelyn Flores, right? Like, did he have something to do with Jocelyn Flores' death? And get power from that ritual just before 17 album? I would like to know. So the Foundation of Enlightenment 666, that's the tablet that Crowley found in the Egyptian Museum after having a spiritual experience with a demon named Iwas, I believe. It told him that he would be the person to bring the earth into the age of Horus, which would be human enlightenment, return back to the practice of magic, and everybody being initiated into these mystery religions. You know, goes back into worship of fallen angels. All 72 demons of the lesser key, one by one, till your energy never existed. The lesser key of Solomon is a spellbook, like a real spellbook. So, Aleister Crowley, happiness lies within oneself, and the way to dig it out is cocaine. So, that's enough there. Like, he was a cokehead. He did drugs. Drugs amplify the spiritual experience, right? That's why you see people acting crazy on drugs, because they're most likely possessed. There shall be one child born with true free will. This child will lead us through the next aeon, AX1. So, in the original video I did, I thought that was Elon Musk's child's name, but it's just very similar. It's not quite his name. The one child born with free will. He's speaking of the Antichrist, I believe, with true free will. That would be him speaking of the child that is the beast, ends up being the beast, in my opinion. I think he's talking about the Antichrist. Before dead people desecrated it. Aleister Crowley, just a big homage to him. He loves Aleister Crowley. And so there's connections to Freemasonry here, which is obviously Luciferianism, if you understand. Made by slaves. This was in a Scottish Rite Masonic temple. Teflon Shan, performance by Little Tracy, going up in the Masonic temple. You can't get in there without clearance, right? Like, you're not allowed to go there unless, you know, you are initiated, you're a member. You can't go. So this means he was a member. Right? Like, that's insane stuff to think about. Most magicians object to the use of blood, but the blood you sacrifice is best. Nearly all purposes, human sacrifice is the best. Like, what? And so we're going to look at XXXTentacion basically quoting Aleister Crowley, which I found very interesting. I remember actually seeing these vlogs originally when they first came out, and I was like, oh man, he's dropping some knowledge. But turns out he was actually teaching us to worship Satan.
Hold on, silence, please. Listen, I want to say something to you guys. Alright, so listen. No matter what anybody tells you, each and every individual in here is a star. All of you are important.
And then there's more, right? He's just wording it slightly differently and maybe hoping that people don't know that he's talking about Crowley.
Okay, so my current focus is creation and evolution. No matter whether you realize it or not, every day you evolve. Every day you create. You create in thought, you evolve in mind, you evolve as far as your age, you evolve physically, mentally. If you are evoluting physically and you are not evoluting mentally, you are not doing the right thing.
So basically, X's character seems to be based on Crowley's teachings, which is, you know, like people mold people's personalities through MK Ultra, through multiple different ways. Like he could have been a victim of ritual abuse himself, right? Just in the X character that he created, the persona for himself, was pretty much basically based on Aleister Crowley. Just to get people to worship his ideals and get the generation that was fans of X to be easily manipulated into following Aleister Crowley's teachings, in my understanding. I never did a part 4, but I'm going to take 1 second to stop recording and just do something. Alright, so here we go. We're going to continue.
When do you plan on dying?
Okay, so this is XXXTENTACION predicting his own death. I think this video is just about him knowing when he died. I'll give my thoughts.
Probably like 25. Probably like 25, 27.
25, huh?
I don't think they'll want me to be alive while my kid's alive, because if we are, then I'll just rule the earth.
How does the story of XXXTentacion end? If it ends.
How does it end?
Like, does it end like...
How is it supposed to end? How is it supposed to end? Let me tell you how it's supposed to end. The people in the positive aspect clearly see that I'm trying. The most important thing is that you try. You know what I'm saying? That you just do it. That I'm trying. That I'm trying to be a better person. They let this fucking case, this court case, go where it needs to go, which is drop or shit. Throw me on probation or some shit. Let me be on probation. Run it concurrent or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Let me be on probation. Monitor me and see what I turn into. And if I'm about my word, I'm going to turn into what I said I'm going to turn into, which is someone that's going to positively mold the youth and move it forward. And then after that, I get off probation. They give me the freedom to do what I need to do. I stay consistent in my ways. You know what I'm saying? I don't revert back to my old mind state. I don't revert. And bro, I try and live as long as I can for these kids and die a good death. Because if I don't live long, they not gonna want to live long. Seeing Kurt Cobain blow his brains out meant a lot to me. I idolized suicide. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a gangster way to go out. Because it's just
I feel like the original agreement with XXXTentacion was that maybe he was going to kill himself. And then he realized the impact he had on the youth and he couldn't go through it. So he paid someone to possibly take him out. That's just a theory. Just how weird his death was and whatnot, and the dates of his death. We all knew that with his agreement that he made with Bruno, with the cult, that there needed to be a sacrifice of some kind. So he sacrificed himself. Ski Mask the Slump God said that he was supposed to be a sacrifice or something and separated himself from X. for that reason. Who knows what the truth is behind that, but still, I feel like X was always supposed to be a sacrifice, and they were just saying that stuff because, you know, from what I understand in gematria, some type of gematria, 17 is a number for sacrifice, I believe. I just heard that somewhere. I'm not completely sure if it's true or not. But for him to get 17 tatted on his head and possibly go through all the rituals at 17, it gives a lot of information as to if he was abused, if he was involved in rituals. It makes sense that it would happen at the age of 17. Because he said all this pivotal stuff happened when he was 17. So, who knows, right? And he was just getting very famous at that age as well.
Full ass, I don't give a fuck. It's like, fuck my mama feelings, fuck my sister feelings, fuck my auntie feelings, fuck my grandma feelings. You know what I'm saying? And I idolize that because it's like, I'm living for y'all and I didn't ask to live. You understand? I look at it like, damn. So it's like really caring about yourself to a degree. Like finally caring about yourself. Like, yo, fuck this. I don't want to live. Fuck this. You know what I'm saying? And I idolize that. But I realize you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ask me the question again.
Now I was saying, how does this story end? And what
How does it end?
I
live as long as I possibly can so these kids can see as possible. And then boom, I die either of old age or from or somebody murder me or some shit. Fuck it.
I feel like the reason he said F it is because he kind of gave away the plan a little bit there. You know how they orchestrate these things, right? Just kind of more of conspiracy minded there, because we know there is more to it than X let on.
Worst thing comes to worst, I fucking die a tragic death or some shit, and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves.
So the way he opens his eyes at the camera here makes me think that he's trying to tell people something. Like he is telling people to read between the lines here, okay? He's telling people if I die or if I get shot, he's saying I'm going to die, I'm going to get shot.
And able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive and to at least have a good life. I at least, if I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure.
If I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, who uses that wording, right? He was bringing the occult into it as much as possible because he wanted to give homage to the occult. His name was XXXTENTACION, which in some numerologies, if you take X and put it onto a number chart, the X is going to be a 6. So 666, and in Latin, his name is Tentacion, 666 temptation in English. Or deciphered, it's 666 temptation. So he was used as a tool, as I've said many times before, to get people into the occult.
That my life made at least 5 million kids happy. Or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life. Regardless of the negative around my name, regardless of the bad things people say to me, I don't give a fuck. Because I know my goal in the end, and I know what I want for everyone, and I know what my message is. So I just wanted to say, I appreciate and love all of you, and I believe in you all. Do not let your depression make you. Do not let your body define your soul. Let your soul define your body. Your mind is limitless. You are worth more than you could believe. All you have to do is dream, and all you have to do is want to fulfill that dream and have the strength.
And he was fucking around with the chopsticks, and we were just sitting there, and we started talking about kids. He was like, "You're gonna be a great dad. So you're gonna be a great dad too someday, bro." He said, "No, I'm not." So what do you mean? And he just looked me dead in the eye, and he was like, "I'm not gonna make it past 21," and then just went right back.
He made an agreement, and during that time, he was okay with it. This is black hair and white hair X. When he, coming from nothing, he was depressed, he was dealing with all this stuff, he was happy to sacrifice himself for his family and his friends. He was happy to do this, but near the end of his life, he started freaking out because he was realizing his time was up, and he was enjoying his life because the deal he made gave him all the possessions he wanted, gave him everything he could ever want in life, but it was only for a short period of time. Right? That's why I feel like he was so calm during this time.
Fucking with the chopsticks. Like he hadn't said a thing. And he was fucking around with the chopsticks, and we were just sitting there, and we started talking about kids. He was like, "You're gonna be a great dad. So you're gonna be a great dad too someday, bro." He said, "No, I'm not." So what do you mean?
So I just played twice. I don't know why. Just gotta wait for it. But anyway, he knew, like I said. Very interesting stuff. We see X with the chopsticks there. Red and black hair, or red and white hair.
It's the first time I'm letting them see my hair.
There we go. So
my hair is just a reminder of telling me to fucking relax. Basically, it's a reminder of me telling myself that you are human, and that you are not a god. You are still on the planet Earth, and that you need to remind yourself that karma is a real thing, and whatever you give out, you will get back.
I knew that something was off. The voices in...
Which is just esoteric knowledge, right? That he's basically paying homage to Lucifer. He's acknowledging a god that he's not God, and that he is human, but he's also not giving thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So what God is he calling out to? What person is he calling out to? Why did he have to humble himself? I believe it was a ritual to, make himself look like the Baphomet. To, represent the God that they worship behind closed doors, which is Baphomet, which is Lucifer, which is Satan. He was meant to change his appearance to look like that. And even though the white and black hair does look pretty cool, still, it was a ritualistic thing to bring on more occultic powers. He started talking about karma, which is you will give out what you put in. You will reap what you sow, but it's an occultic version of you will reap what you sow. He's essentially just... Everybody who was watching that probably didn't know what he was talking about. When people are talking about karma, when they're talking about these things, normal people aren't going to understand it. So they're going to look it up and they're going to be like, whoa, this is crazy stuff. But in reality, they're just being caught into worshiping demons. Because, that's all it truly is.
Head came. He would tell me, he would not sleep at night. And he would tell me he hears voices.
Literally, you'd be like, "Oh, I took LSD and I've talked to a spirit."
So when they do LSD, they talk to spirits, right? The LSD is going to give you a crazy experience, but they use LSD in MK Ultra and they use LSD in rituals. So if he's saying that he talked to a demon while he was taking LSD, that maybe the demon he was speaking to was an actual person during a ritual that he took part in, and then it told him when he was going to die, and because that experience was so brainwashed into his head, he just kind of believed it, and he just understood that as reality. But it could have been someone that wasn't a demon putting that into his head. Does that make sense? I feel like what they're talking about here was possibly brainwashing, and not really him having a spiritual experience. Because, that's just my thoughts. Or he could have made a deal with a demon to know when he was going to die. But I really feel like it was, he could have made a deal with a demon for when he was going to die, but it's hard to say. I just want to bring out those two possibilities, that it was a ritual and the LSD made him trip out so badly he thought it was a spirit, or he did a very powerful ritual, he summoned a demon, possibly made a deal with that said demon, and the deal was that he would die in order to fulfill his goals, if that makes sense.
That's a demon and told me information about myself, about how long I'm gonna live, that they're gonna come get him at some point. I really didn't like that shit at that point.
I like how Ski Mask is like, yeah, I didn't really like it when he talked about the demons coming for his soul. Like, I mean, I wouldn't either, Ski Mask, Mr. Stokely. I wouldn't like that either.
Yeah, it was a very dark time.
That's funny too, because the guy's like, yeah, it's a very dark time. Like, yeah, no, obviously it was a dark time. What do you mean? He goes from being a normal guy to talking about how he's literally spoke to a demon that told him when he was going to die. I can see how it would be a dark time to his friends.
And if I end up getting shot and killed for what the fuck I'm doing, or if I end up getting my ass beat at some point in time, or nigga, if shit get hard on me, it's because I deserve it. That's point.
So if he deserves it, what's he doing behind closed doors? If he gets shot and killed, what's he doing to even that out? Is he murdering people behind closed doors? Is he doing, like, rituals, things like that behind closed doors? So it makes sense that karma would come get him and he would be murdered? I think it does.
Period. Everybody will get a death. Everybody will get a death that is deserving. Everybody will get a life that is deserving. Everybody, you will get what the fuck you deserve. Karma. We can sacrifice them. Yeah, we can. I don't want to though. I don't do sacrifices. I just do hard work.
I don't do sacrifices. I just do hard work. Like, I mean, earlier on in your career, you seem to have sacrificed Jocelyn Flores just before your 17 album. We can sacrifice them. Who even brings that up randomly unless they're an occultist and they know exactly what they're doing? Nobody brings that up. Nobody's going to talk about sacrifice randomly unless they're part of a cult or they know what sacrifice means.
If I'm going to sacrifice anything, it's going to be myself. Selfish. I just want you out of my old.
Just a good old Kanye. That's a Kanye West song now, featuring X. Alright, and here's some footage of people just saying that he did black magic.
And he started managing them, and that's when they started. He was 17 years old. They were both 17, 18.
So they're 17 years old. They're underage, okay?
18 years old, I think, a little younger. Hanging out at Bruno's house with a whole bunch of porn stars, drugs, bitches, parties, and these kids are living the life. With, like, you know how insane that is? Because I was living in the house.
That's why those raps are dope, right?
Yeah, that's why X and them were like insane fucking kids, like fucking doing screamo and like doing all this crazy shit. Like they were living a fucking rock star life.
Because of that fool. That's
Bruno
crazy.
is like, there's videos of Bruno taking X to Disney. Damn. Like you know, he like people said like
taking X to Disney. That means like they're good friends or like they are close. That was X's handler at the time. Bruno was X's handler. Makes a lot of sense.
Bruno was kind of wanted him to be like his little, his like mini me or like that. That's like they're twins or like, you know, they acted almost like.
Yeah.
And X admired that. It was so weird. And that's when all those allegations came out. Like, he beat up this girl, and that was at Bruno's house. It's crazy. All that shit went on, like, it's crazy.
So that was, like, the center of all the...
No one knows that it was Bruno.
Really?
It makes a lot of sense that it was Bruno, because he was trying to get X locked up for life. He was trying to have leverage over XXXTENTACION, because he knew X had prior legal issues. Makes a lot of sense. Bruno wasn't X's friend like people like to make him out to be. Like, he owned X, right? Like, he wasn't always looking out for X's best interest. He was handling him and making sure that he did what he was supposed to do because he made a deal with him.
Now, none of X's mom, his friends, none of those people fuck with Bruno because he really got this kid into like a bad like lifestyle.
So is he doing something else or just different artists?
Bruno?
Yeah.
Bruno's still doing the same thing he was doing.
Just different artists.
Pimping hoes, pimping, selling drugs, doing all that shit, you know?
Damn.
Miami Ratchet.
That's my new rap name. My new rap name is going to be Bruno.
Bruno!
Like Freeway, like Rick Ross. Rick Ross was like, I'm going to be a Rick Ross.
Yeah, this is when X was like 17, he had like short hair. He didn't even have like the two like blonde and he was kid, yeah. He was recording in his house. Yo, if I tell you some real shit right now, like, I'm gonna tell you some crazy shit. Like these kids, like what I've heard, what they did at Bruno's house. Bruno never did that in the house when I was there. He just like beat girls up and like put them in cages and like.
Yeah, but regular.
Putting women in cages, that can be like, so for MK Ultra, put you in a cage. Yeah, like right, they put you like that's messed up, but they're training humans to do what they want. Like they're brainwashing these human beings.
They're like mob boss shit.
Yeah, like crazy. And then what I heard later on was, I guess after he started living with these kids, they started doing like brujeria.
I'm guessing that is dark magic or voodoo. So brujeria, brujeria, I don't know what it is, but either way, you can tell it's going to be very demonic.
And like these are facts, like Wi-Fi, Funeral, and all these guys would say that. Even Juice WRLD would say that shit. He was like, yeah, like Bruno was doing like some
Bruce WRLD. Juice WRLD also practiced it himself, so I don't really know what they want.
They were doing some weird shit. Even X. Yeah, they were when
Florida has that, Louisiana has that shit.
Bro, crazy. I didn't know because when I was living there, like they wasn't doing that. And then I heard that, I was like, damn, that nigga's crazy.
That's that Everglades shit, like crazy witch doctor.
Yeah, they were getting, supposedly they got some of the girls and did like some weird shit, like.
Yeah, like they can.
Sacrifice. Throwing blood.
Sacrifice, they did some weird stuff with girls. Okay? That's just hinting. Like, these are people who are actually around Bruno and they're actually around XXXTENTACION. I believe them when they say this stuff. I understand that he is going to be a dangerous person, okay? I had someone ask me if I've ever reached out to Bruno, and it's like, no, I don't want to. I'm not reaching out to him. Here, we'll keep going.
They dope them up somehow, so like they pass out and they're like knocked out, and then like do crazy shit. Maybe sacrifice. I don't know. But.
Well, that's what I heard, and the girls started tripping out. Like the girls are like some weird shit. I believe in that stuff. I live in Miami. I'm not gonna lie. Like I looked into that. I was like, ooh.
Sacrifices a girl's soul when he fucks them on top of his bed, because he has like the gates of help.
And by sacrificing it, it means they're unknowingly participating in a sex ritual, which would attach a demon to them, which would drain their energy. That's what they believe.
Pentagon drawn underneath his bed.
And you know what? I'm gonna end this right here, and we're gonna start a part 2. Okay.